Hello everyone and welcome to P111 Gaming, where we do things raw. This is possibly take 8 on our first attempt to do an intro. I, XMWX, sitting here, and we have Dan here. And
what's up,
Shadow,
fuckers?
as you can see. So, today we're going to be talking about everything that happened last month, with one of the most upcoming things, which was the Epic Store launcher. Quite honestly, I don't see that a lot of P111 Gaming sees it as a big deal. A lot of us here in P111 Gaming kind of really don't, because it's just another launcher. The whole fighting over titles and this and that kind of I don't know what to say. It doesn't really make I don't really care what launcher I use as long as I get the game.
Which I agree to a certain extent as well. I mean,
I just want to play games, mister.
Get me what?
Which in a case I do agree, but in a fact of we have to go from X to Y to Z to find the one game. Like if you want to play, if you're into the whole Fortnite thing, you have to go on the Epic Launcher, and then I think Borderlands is on Epic Launcher as well. And then if you want to go play Apex, you got to be on Origin. Or if you want to play, say, Diablo 3, Warcraft, Starcraft, something like that, you have to go on Blizzard. I feel like there should just be a universal thing where you could just pick where your games are at. Granted, we have Steam for 99% of the games that are on there, which by all means is to each their own. And even then, in that case, you could just have a folder that says games, and you can go to wherever you need to. But in the case of someone that's kind of just getting off work, had a stressful day, and just kind of want to get in and play some games, it's kind of difficult. Be like, oh, okay, I want to play some Destiny. Oh, I have my Epic Launcher up. I have to get my BattleNet. I have to do 3 different things just to get to one game.
Yeah, and it's not like it takes them fucking forever to download their updates.
I mean, it's a modern day problem you all have to understand is that with every company there's going to be competition, like the iPhone and Samsung. Like they're just going back and forth. LG and Android and Apple both go back and forth making phones. And it's the same thing with launchers and games today. The problem with most of our games is that many people dislike and hate microtransactions because sometimes microtransactions are so ployed to make the company money, because it's not always a guarantee you're going to get something that you're paying for. There's a big difference between microtransactions between, hey, for $5 you can get this map pack. That's completely understandable. But for $5 you can have a chance to get certain weapons, but it's not guaranteed.
You're telling me there's
a chance. The whole Woot case is kind of...
Yeah, no, that's where people kind of they just start throwing a huge tension tantrum, and I totally understand, because it's exactly like gambling, and it shouldn't be in the game. It should be in the game's mechanic to unlock for you automatically. That should be an in-game mechanic, a loot box.
Definitely.
That's what it should be. Like, there was a game out there that did it right. Every time you leveled up, you got a loot box. Oh wait, that was Overwatch. Overwatch did that. That was good. That was great, because it gave you a chance to get a legendary, and it never stopped rewarding you for playing the game.
Exactly. Like, I'm almost silver border. Granted, I haven't played as much as some people, but I haven't spent a single penny on that game besides buying the actual game. And I've got most of the collectibles, whatever you call it. It's a great system, and I really wish that these games like Apex, in whichever Battlefront, I really wish that they would implement that to a certain extent. I feel as though Apex does it a little bit wrong, because I think after a certain level, this is before the whole Battle Pass thing, after a certain level, it stopped giving you those those loot boxes, whatever they call them. I'm not sure at the moment, but I'm genuinely not sure because the whole battle pass was implemented, and it's been updating ever since, and I really haven't checked the patch notes.
You know, that actually reminds me a lot of like Apex Legends and Fortnite. If you all know that Fortnite's like kind of like dying, right? Like it's getting onto its last legs.
Oh yeah, it used to be like the top dog. Like whenever Ninja isn't streaming, it's pretty down there. It's like in the fourth or fifth, but whenever he's streaming it, it's pretty up there. Like recently, a couple days ago, I saw that League of Legends was up there again, which is shocker, quote unquote, because it was probably some like high competitive game or something like that. I didn't really check, but knowing them, they usually keep top dog, but whenever Fortnite started to rise, they kind of fell out. Now that Fortnite's dying, League came back, and I'm not sure about Dota because I haven't really followed that.
Um, I don't know about the whole battle royale scene. Like player on no battlegrounds. I don't know if started it because I remember someone telling me before there was another game that did battle royale style fighting, and it wasn't anything new.
Minecraft Hunger Games.
No, Minecraft Hunger Games wasn't the original actually. There was another.
I know. I'm just kind of shitposting at this point.
There was another like. There was another game out there that did it. I just don't remember which one it was, but it was like a smaller style map gameplay where everyone would spawn in at a certain time.
H1Z1?
No, H1Z1 started on that shit after PUBG.
Oh, okay.
But the whole battle royale scene has become so distant. It just shows that when one thing comes out that's super popular, everyone is so quick to copycat.
Exactly.
And it kills the genre before it has a chance to improve. Because everybody wants to draw your attention to their game, their style, their this, their that, and they just want the attention and money. And it doesn't work. The whole battle style, like battle royale, from me asking people, I ask a lot of people for, do you like battle royales? And they go, oh yeah, all the time, I love them. Ah, you playing one right now? No. Tomorrow? No. Oh, well, how many times do you like play them? Like, do you just have it saved on your computer? Yeah. You don't really play it that much, do you? Nah. I mean, I do love it when I'm playing with my friends, but like we basically play other games. And it's that constant thing, though. Like it's just funny to me. Like it's just going away so fast.
Oh,
Yo, like
exactly.
it feels like you talked to me about it because even though I'm pretty sure I never talked to you about it because that's exactly how I feel about Battle Royale. Like I don't really like it, but like if my friends have it and I have it downloaded, I'm like, yeah, sure, why not?
And I completely agree with you. It was to the point whenever Apex actually came out where it's forcing you with two other people. Granted, it's a really great mechanic and to each their own on that matter. I feel like ever since then it's been dying more and more in that sense because it's so saturated with just the copycats of what you were talking about. And then Apex got absolutely huge with all these mechanics of, say, Pathfinder with its grappling hook, Wraith with her portals and all of that. More or less kind of, I don't want to say MOBA style. Like they have like their own classes, which is absolutely amazing, but it's still a battle royale at the end of the day. And it's dying because of it. And I've seen I don't want to say I've seen the numbers, but I've seen it whenever I play Apex, whenever I play Fortnite on the rare occasion, and whatever I do. It has been taking a lot longer to get in games rather than whenever it was really big a couple months ago, or however long Fortnite was. Like it's been out like a year or so now. I'm not really sure on that, but
I'm not sure either.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree because the same thing happens where us gamers know whenever you hear someone say like, "Bro, there's like 23 million people who play this game." When you hear that and you join and you go to join a game, and it's taking you 3 minutes to get into a lobby, or 4 or 5, we blame it on long wait times, like bad queues. But
Yeah.
it's really not that at all. It's actually that there's just not a lot of traffic,
Which
meaning that,
is
i.e., that there isn't a lot of people going to this game right now.
it's kind of funny whenever they bring up the whole, oh, they've got 11 million, they've got 20 million. I always ask them right after, saying, oh, that's great. You know, they have like 11 million players. How many of them are concurrents every single day, week, month? Because that's all that matters at the end of the day. You could
And
spend
that
however many
number
hours.
drops like hella fast too. It's like, well, we have
Exactly.
11 million, but how many are returning players? And the number shocks you because usually you hear on other channels on YouTube from other podcasters, from other people, from other groups that say like it's usually around maybe 500,000 people, but in reality it's really not. It's actually like 11,000 people or 50,000 people at most.
Exactly. I feel as though like those concurrent ones, they're kind of, I don't want to say granted they actually like the game because they're actually concurrent, but it's also the case of, are they playing it because it's trending? You know, they want to be popular on Twitch, YouTube, whatever it may be. You honestly don't know any kind of intentions of whatever these concurrent players are playing. I don't know if that's exactly relevant, but at the same time, it's kind of a point to bring up because you seen the YouTube gaming? Like, have you seen that tab recently? It's all been Fortnite. It's probably one of the most uploaded games on YouTube since Minecraft came out. Whenever it was absolutely huge.
Well, yeah, no, Fortnite is meme worthy. And that's one of the biggest things about Fortnite is that it is
Uh,
meme worthy.
okay, I think you switched the words meme worthy and cancer. I think you got it mixed up, man.
Well, no, that's still meme worthy. I mean, like you can try and say a game's cancer just because you were told it's cancer, but honestly, do you honestly really feel as though the game sucks that bad? Like, obviously it doesn't because tons of people are playing it. You're the only one odd out here. You're the only one talking shit about the game. Like, this is the number one biggest killer about video games and topics alike and anything in general is that you take somebody's advice over the fact of your own. You're admittedly accepting information to a fault, meaning that
But
you're accepting every word of it
but I
without
played the
even
game.
trying.
I didn't hear any reviews or anything about it. I literally just didn't like the fact that I would shoot at someone who's out in the open, and they would magically just whip out a wall out of their anus or something, and it's like instant cover. I'm just like, what the hell, man? You
Well, no,
can't
I
just
mean,
do your magical wizard crap in here.
even though people can do that in the game, like I find that that was the stupidest feature I felt as though it was in a battle royale, but it worked for it. It just wasn't for me. I'm not the kind of person to talk shit on a video game if I don't like it. If I feel as though something's incredibly broken, like Rainbow Six Siege Blackbeard, when he first was released and he was absolutely the most scariest opponent to face because you shot at this guy and his shield took hella damage and it just soaked up bullets like it was a rainy day.
And now it's
It,
just like a piece of paper.
Yep.
oh yeah. And I
Um
feel like
oh, go ahead.
I feel like with this whole sorry, I feel like with this whole battle royale genre, it's more of, with the case of Fortnite, like you were saying, it's meme worthy. You know, that could be misconstrued however way you want to talk about it, but there's so much content out there. You can do whatever. It's on top of almost every single trend. They had Thanos in there whenever Infinity War was announced. That's
That was dope.
absolutely mental. Honestly, I thought that was pretty cool. I'm not really an Avengers fan myself, but that was absolutely amazing.
They had
But
a battle royale where you were randomly selected to be Thanos and you were trapped in a small map fighting him.
oh, I played it a couple times. It was all right.
That was awesome.
Yeah, but I feel like with this whole battle royale genre, it's because when it comes down to content, like streaming, it's absolutely great to a point. If like there's a lot of variables whenever it comes down to that. But I feel like as a YouTube sense for battle royales, it's unless it's kind of like funny moments or some kind of compilation like that, it gets boring. It really does, because there's always this downtime of getting loot, finding the enemy. Like how long have you've like been playing, say, Fortnite or Apex, and you just had all this downtime where there's absolutely nothing happening, and then something finally comes up. It's absolutely insane whenever it comes down to content. Granted, that could also go down for streaming as well, but I feel as though it's just this whole genre of games is
dying out.
Well, of course it's dying out because no one's really playing them concurrently.
Hey, everybody's going back to their originals and just original plays. Like, if it makes any difference. I remember I talked to my manager before, and I talked to him about different styles of games that were happening these days, like Battlefield, the genre in which everything's going, and how people feel about it. Um, I never really get like a solid answer from people when I ask them, like, how do you feel about this game? How do you feel about the way that they're going with this? You know, like one of the biggest things I asked is in Rainbow Six Siege. I play this game a lot, and I felt as though it was kind of a crappy thing to have players who play the game have to buy a specialized character to get an emoji, or not an emoji, an emote on their character at the end of the battle. And it's not guaranteed. You have to be the MVP. I found that kind of like good and also bad at the same time, because you're forcing someone to take you're telling them, hey, listen, you can fully customize your character with all this stuff we prepare that we ask you to buy in game, and we reward you with for playing every single game that you can buy and customize your avatar and customize your favorite operator with. Or you can pay $10 to $15 for this guy right here and never change his outfit ever unless you want that, emote. That right there kind of just really turns me off, because you're cutting the creativity out of someone who may want to play Rainbow. Oh, for Christ's sake, you may want to cut the creativity out of someone who wants to play Rainbow Unicorn Tachanka and wants an emoji at the end. But no, I keep saying emoji, like an emote, sorry. Like it's always that one thing, like where video games go to one side and they don't go to the other, and it just never adds up. It always feels like something's lacking.
Well, I feel like Rainbow's like what the next update should be, because I feel like they're running out of ideas for characters, is that they should allow us to, I guess, customize the rookie and allow us to have our own kind of operator. Because sometimes I don't feel like going with a specialized operator. I want to just have grenades, and like if I'm offensive, I want to have more stuff I can
utility
put on the walls.
than specials?
More utility than specials. Yeah, I like flashbangs and grenades maybe.
Yeah, no, the recruit is a solid operator, and I believe that the recruit should really have his own like style, but a lot of people disagree because they say recruit is just recruit. He's there for someone who can't pick an operator. I get that. But why not allow recruit to use all the attachments that every operator has, but saved in the inventory? So if you select Spetsnaz operators for recruit, you'll get those attachments that are with that gun to, correct memes.
Well,
but
no, the thing is, like, you could get the attachments, but you have to unlock them with the in-game currency, not like the stuff you buy, but like you have to earn it basically, and then you have to earn any customizations for the recruit. It's like kind of like
somebody was saying that recruit should be his own operator because he is the only operator in the game that has literally the most overwhelming X factor on the team, because he can be any operator at a given time with a singleized overpowered weapon and still use the same weapon as any other operator. He is the most OP operator in the entire game. If you don't use sights and you don't mind not using sights, you literally have an advantage with him because you're taking utility over specials.
Yeah, exactly. And plus, if they actually added like the customization to make your like to like customize the armor he wears or make him look like more like the FBI side than just plain old tactical gear, it would also kind of go to the old Rainbow Six Siege, Vegas 2 and Vegas, because I honestly like the customization in those, and I still go back and play it.
I think Recruit should definitely become his own operator, and a lot of people disagree with. Well, they're going to disagree with it because they believe that this is just going to take away from the other operators in the game. Yeah, but you're also missing the point is that Recruit himself is an operator. He is selectable, he is playable, he is there for when you can't make a decision. And he obviously he has the best loadout over utility. You can have grenades and claymores and just rock it. And it just works because you're saying, "Hey, I don't want to be a I don't feel like playing IQ without her grenades." You can pick Recruit and not take her gadget and get breaching charges and grenades and her same gun.
Yeah, true.
It's solved. There you go. You have IQ with grenades. It's basically the same thing, just without the ability. And honestly, that works out so well. Because if someone's playing IQ and needs to use their special ability, you can kind of see the downside of that. Like, yo, that's extremely overpowered. Well, that's why we have Ubisoft, don't we? That's why it's their game, right? They're there to balance it out. So who's to say, like, hey, they can't make a recruit operator with his own style of specialized weapons, standard issue weapons, and allow us to customize the character to our favorite ability and give him emotes, give him different skin variations, different uniforms, you know?
And a lot of people don't even realize this, but well, I guess companies, but it's like if I see a lot of customization that's maybe locked behind in-game currency or even like monetary stuff, but it's not a lot. I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna either put my time into this or I'm gonna fork out some dough to actually make my character look a little bit cooler, stand out more. And they never do it. It's like I just want more customization and
It
kind of the same thing.
it seems that they always go the wrong path at the wrong time because people have no problem paying for gear. They have no problem paying for outfits. They have no problem doing that. It's just, hey, if you're running out of ideas, there's plenty of things you can do to make the game even more viable and more community friendly.
And that's what Fortnite excelled at. They made all these emotes and outfits, and even the what is it, the pickaxe or whatever the hell it is. You can think now you can turn it into Thor's hammer or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
You could turn it into a guitar.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you just keep constantly updating the game with maybe some new features, and then a lot of stuff that you can grind for, like just cosmetic stuff. People will keep playing the game.
Exactly, but I feel like that's more on Ubisoft's side of things because Epic Games have been trying to ever since they got their whole giant craze after thieving off of PUBG's popularity. They've been trying their hardest to make it the trendy game that everyone actually wants to play, for whatever demographic they're going for. But I feel as though Rainbow Six, as much of as little of a game as I played of it, they have their set demographic. They have whatever their cosmetics may be, and they know that their audience is going to buy whatever they want to do. I feel like that's more of on a marketing side more than anything of the company, more or less than the game.
Yeah.
I can agree with that, and that's exactly why, a lot of gamers today, when a gamer gets burnt by a bad deal, at first, everyone's been down that road where they thought this is going to be epic, this is going to be great. You bought something, and then 5 seconds later or 5 minutes later, you realized, I shouldn't have done that.
Mortal Kombat 11.
Did you say Mortal Kombat 11? I haven't seen that game. Do they still have the fatality executions and stuff?
Oh my god, dude, it gets brutal every single game. It gets more messed up than ever. Every single game. Of course they have it. My issue mainly with Mortal Kombat was the fact of, granted, this is from what I've experienced. I bought the game, I downloaded it, waited a day because I was busy with other personal things, came to the game, got everything set up, and I went to go play a bit of online after doing some tutorial stuff just to freshen my stuff up. And it crashed 2 times, and I wanted to refund it right then and there. It was absolutely buggy as all ever. The graphics, granted, I'm not a big graphics snob, but I feel as though even on low, they do look good, but they're not. I don't know, because I've had other games like Overwatch and like just other popular games that have run on low and still look amazing. I feel as though, granted, it might be my monitor. There's a ton of variables that it could maybe I'm just an idiot. Who knows? But I feel as though Mortal Kombat 11 on low graphics and a decent connection of Wi-Fi should run solidly. Even though I still got to play after I paired up with my first game that I was going to play, it was just me and this other guy. He was 01. I was completely null. I crashed, so I was like, all right, whatever. I got into the next game, and this dude was like 30 something and like 12. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. He picks his character, I picked mine. I get absolutely demolished for a couple games. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna brush up on my, on my combos, everything else. And then I went to go play a normal game, and then it crashed again. I even have footage of it. It's absolutely ridiculous. I might even put it up like right here. It was absolutely ridiculous. Now, I'm not the best Mortal Kombat player by any means. You can attest to this, X. It's ridiculous.
I think you need to remove the cookie out of your mouth.
Mm-mm.
Okay, now you're eating the mic, sir. Oh no.
But in any case, I was very, very disappointed with Mortal Kombat. Granted, I haven't touched any of the story and like all the towers and everything else. Granted, I have touched a bit of the towers a bit, which they're fine for what they are. They're the normal towers. You can't really complain. But everyone was talking about the microtransactions on there too. But I feel as though those were more story based. I'm not 100% sure on that. But from the little bit that I've played in like the 2 hours or some whatever that I've played of Mortal Kombat, I was very disappointed. I honestly want to return it, but I don't even think I can because I have 2 hours played.
Yeah, no, Mortal Kombat ended up doing some really cool stuff. Like they made a great game. It's just that they made combos hard, and that's good too, because not only you're making combos extremely difficult, but it gets to a point where it just gets kind of like boring.
It's more or less on a pro kind of level where when it comes to the combos, because like say from Mortal Kombat 10, I'm not a big Mortal Kombat guy. I'm more of a Smash Brothers kind of guy. I love Mortal Kombat, and whenever I picked up Mortal Kombat 10, I really liked that game. It was very easy to pick up for a casual player like myself. I picked up Mortal Kombat 11, and I feel like it was more. I feel it was as I had to have been there throughout the whole game, and the controls were very, I don't want to say sticky, but it just didn't feel natural to play, even picking up the new installment now.
Well, I mean, it could be worse. You could have purchased that one game, World War III, that was supposed to be the next modern Battlefield, um, and supposedly be a competition for dice. Yeah, that game I can't even find a server anymore. At least whenever I try to play.
Yeah, I heard that game was pretty awful, but
No, the thing is though, is the gameplay is nice. It's just that the servers and like I guess are they're just so bad. Once you get into a game and you play the game, it's like you get kind of into it and it's fun. It's just I after a few weeks, I just noticed that the player count just plummeted, and that I couldn't find a game. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll come back when the next update. Next update comes around. There's hardly anyone playing, so I'm just like, okay, I what the hell? And I can't get my refund because I've played more than like 4 hours of it, so I'm basically screwed.
which I feel in that case is more of a marketing issue because they didn't promote the game as much as they should, didn't have a big player base. What kind of game was it though? Was it like an FPS?
Yeah, it was an FPS, and it was advertised as like, okay, you know how Battlefield 4 was advertised? Well, it
Kind of.
was kind of seen as like that, but made by a different company, and there's way more customization. You could customize, the helmets on your characters, what your kind of tattoos and all that, and you could even
Yeah.
customize, the vehicles you would drive.
But I feel as though that the players that looked at it was just like, oh, it's a Battlefield clone. A couple played it and they were just like, eh.
Yeah, exactly, and I think that's what happened. And it's just like and the thing is, I kind of liked it more than I liked it more than Battlefield uh 4, and I just wish there was more people playing it because besides the first bugs whenever it first released, I thought it was actually a pretty good game.
Which is fair. There's a lot of games that like the MMORPGs. Like there's a couple out there that were really good whenever I played them, and then they just kind of died because no one played them. I feel like there's so much there's a lot of game developers. I get it. People have passions and everything. I honestly understand that to a T. But I feel like whenever people are just rushing, like they're rushing their product just to get it out on stores, like the Nintendo eShop, there's I heard something. I don't know if it was on a direct or something of that matter, where they want to put out like 20 or 30 games or something a week. Granted, I'm not sure 100% on those numbers, but even still, even if that's true, that's absolutely insane. Like I'll even like I'll go on and try to get like say Hyrule Warriors or whatever, and then I'm trying to find it in say the features, and they've got all these games like Skyrim, Diablo 3. They've got Super Mario Party, everything else, and it's just like it's completely oversaturated. Granted, they have to make their money how they are, but you go into like the great deals and all all the other sections, there is just so much shovelware on it that it's absolutely insane. Like, granted, the original Wii and the Wii U also had that same issue, but it's not even to the extent of what it is on the Switch because there's so many developers nowadays. And with your case of that game from Dice, they probably just felt so oversaturated. They're just like, it's another one of these. I'm done with it.
Yeah, and the one thing that pissed me off though is because like what didn't make sense is that the vehicles were locked behind points you would get in game, and I guess that's what turned a lot of people away because you had to be good at the infantry, and some people aren't good at both infantry and tank gameplay or any vehicle gameplay. A lot of people just stick with airplanes or tanks and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like if you look up, some battlefield pilots and stuff, you can see them doing insane kinds of stuff and pulling off like like awesome maneuvers, like insane kill streaks, and they won't even die because obviously they're in the air, they're almost
yeah.
untouchable. So I think that's what got a lot of people turned away from it.
Oh yeah, I can definitely understand that. It's I don't know. The oversaturation thing is kind of just what keeps coming up whenever it comes to stuff like this. It's especially with say like the Call of Duty stuff, that has been churning out every single year since I don't know how long. It's been
Yeah,
going on since I was a kid.
yeah, I know. It seems like it's been coming out since like before I was born, actually.
It's
Like,
absolutely insane.
I remember my first Call of Duty I played. I think I was like 4, and it was
Oh,
Call of Duty
jeez.
Finest Hour on the PS2. And
Oh wow.
my parents were fine with it because it was rated T for teen. There wasn't any gore in it, but it's like there's still people dying.
Yeah.
But I mean, I still played it, and even as a little kid, I was always into World War II, and it helped me learn about that.
Yeah.
So that's
Which is
one reason I
understandable.
played it. But then
Yeah.
it started getting into more like Call of Duty World at War, and was probably like the last one that was kind of dedicated to veterans of the past. And then after that, it was just like they completely went away from what Call of Duty was originally, because it was like Medal of Honor was like first, and it was all about the veterans and showing their stories. And then Call of Duty
Yeah.
came to compete with them. And then like after they killed Medal of Honor off, it's just like, you know what? Let's just go do some futuristic stuff that
And then you have games like Ghosts and Infinite
ex-
Warfare that just shit on it.
exactly. And I wish they would realize that they need to go back to their roots, not meaning like boots on the ground, but we want more of us like actual stories from
Yeah.
veterans of the past. Maybe even a modern war basically, but like from like the Gulf War and stuff like that, events like that. Even though it might not be entertaining, they can maybe put a little bit of Michael Bay into it, if you know what I mean.
But I get what you're talking about. I honestly don't know where Call of Duty is at this moment. Like I saw that they had the Modern Warfare remaster. Granted, this is going a couple years ago. I even bought a Black Ops 4. I really do. I really did like Black Ops 4. It looked really nice. It played nice, but I feel as like going back on what I said, it was just kind of the oversaturation of it's another Call of Duty. You know, it's not really that fun whenever it comes to single player on online, and maybe next year. I feel like it depends on the. I don't want to say it depends on the category of game and the developers, but I feel as though that it kind of gets to a point where kind of it. I mean, sales can affect it, yes, but I feel as though there there should be kind of a gap. I mean, from how like there was from the gap between us, like I don't know how to phrase this. Like the gaps between in games are good. It can actually boost sales and everything else. But whenever it gets to a point where it's at Call of Duty and Battlefield statuses where it's coming out every single year, it gets to a point where some players are just like, okay, enough. I'll try next year. And then they never come back because they buy it or they try it out at a friend's place. And they're just like, oh, it's not for me. Maybe I'm just not a Call of Duty player or Battlefield.
Or they just go back to playing one of the older versions of the games. Like they
Exactly.
literally just remastered Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Everyone loved it. All they have to do is just remaster some of their old games. People would play it. If they remastered World at War, oh my gosh, I'm pretty sure people would lose their minds.
Exactly. I mean, even on Xbox, they did backwards compatibility for Black Ops 1 and 2, and there was more players. In some cases, there was more players on Black Ops 2 and 1 more than Infinite Warfare and Ghosts. Well, I mean, that's not really that difficult, but people were going back on a future generation to go play Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 1 on a newer console, and the numbers were absolutely insane whenever I used to play Xbox. It's they need to focus on their old. I don't want to say focus on their older games in the sense of remastering them and churning them out. They're just going to do that with every single game, and it's going to be another repeat of the oversaturation. It's I honestly don't know what Activision or Treyarch could actually do to. I don't want to say boost sales or just have something that's actually different for once in the sense of Call of Duty.
Well, I mean, there's enough out right now where if they just took a break, I mean, you know for a fact that they have made plenty of money from the past, like, just 5 years alone.
Oh,
That
exactly.
they could try and innovate for just 2 years to create a brand new Call of Duty, and because we don't need it every year. Hell,
Exactly.
they could probably go 4 years and still be fine because the what was it we were complaining about, the monetary stuff, loot boxes. The loot boxes
Yeah.
would help maintain them, as long as they keep the servers right and get rid of anyone who's exploiting the game and stuff like that. As long as they maintain that, I'm pretty sure they'd be fine for 3 maybe 4 years, and they could come up with a way better game that would make them probably even more money than, you know I guess, any Call of Duty that's come out.
Uh, which I completely agree with you. Like Treyarch, Activision, they have the funds to keep their developers okay and just kind of just in a cave to just work on a new game that's actually innovative instead of just churning out another one, just trying to make a buck or everything. Which I honestly felt like whenever Black Ops 3 came out, I honestly felt like they were just kind of scraping the pennies and just like, hey, here's a new Call of Duty game. It's got flying stuff like Infinite Warfare, and then everyone hated that game. It was absolutely garbage. Well, to me personally, but that's to each their own. It's it's honestly the microtransactions that it's saving those companies in that time because Black Ops
Uh-huh.
3 honestly didn't do that well. I mean, let's be honest here, it didn't do that well. Same with Infinite Warfare, but whenever like the loot boxes of Modern Warfare Remastered came out, I wouldn't be surprised if it kind of just took the funds of Infinite Warfare that completely flopped and then just turned it right back over, or even better.
Yeah.
That's how they keep their money in this case. And with the newest Call of Duty with Black Ops 4, I don't know if they released a new one. They probably did last week by the time I'm editing this. Who knows? I feel as though they honestly need to take a break, say like 2, maybe 3 years. They have the funds. It's nothing too difficult. Like, just take the time to make a new game that we're actually interested in instead of churning out, hey, here's a
Yeah.
rifle, go shoot
And there
somebody.
is the whole thing, like the whole controversy of them telling their workers to work these hours and stuff just to meet deadlines, and it's like you're putting the deadlines too close so that it doesn't make the game better. the the longer, like, the further the deadline is, the more, you know obviously you got to make sure they're, putting in at least, a 40-hour work week, and they're not slacking
Exactly.
off. If they were doing that, that's fine. But if they're pushing them to work like maybe 60 to 70 work hours a week,
Without slacking, that's a little bit too
yeah,
much.
that's like way too much, all to meet quotas and, monetary stuff. And these guys who are just in charge of them, and probably don't even care about video games, they don't realize is that if they let their creators actually put in the effort, and they actually came up with their own stories and ideas to further the game, it would be way better than the last 5 or even 6 Call of Duties.
Exactly. But I also feel like in the sense of, granted, I don't know Activision, Treyarch, whatever it may be, but I feel like there's someone going in, like in behind the scenes. Granted, I'm just speculating here. Like someone's going in behind the scenes of just like, is this good? Does it churn out? Whatever. Put it on the shelves. I actually, oh, we were talking the one day. What was it? Dragon Age, something like that. The one game that they were going into development, they had say like 3 some years like that, where
That
they
was
had,
what the hell is it? That was Anthem, because
yeah,
Anthem's
Anthem.
huge crash.
Yeah, exactly. Like they had a certain amount of time to make a game, and someone came in and was just like, "This isn't good. I'm not paying you a cent." And then they completely rehauled the game in a certain amount of time, and then we got what the tragedy of what Anthem was.
I completely forgot about Anthem.
Me too, honestly.
Anthem was like
It
one
just
of those biggest letdowns. Like a lot of big letdowns are happening. Um,
I I feel like it was the No Man's Sky of 2019. If we're being completely honest here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure no one can beat No Man's Sky. Although I feel like someone's gonna prove me wrong.
I mean, you can go ahead and say like it's just a bad game, but a lot of people just don't want to accept that. Like,
the thing is, though, is that No Man's Sky has had several updates. Like they have multiplayer and all this stuff now, which I just found out like a couple weeks ago. I was like, wait, they included multiplayer, and they have crafting, and you can build stuff. What is this? Why wasn't this on release?
Because that would have actually made some kind of sense, and you know that the people over at EA or whoever made it were just like, oh, we're gonna put microtransactions in because we need to make money, shit like that. It's I don't know. I wasn't a fan of Anthem. I didn't buy it. I didn't really care.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure crowd-funded stuff. Actually, those are probably those don't go well either. Crowd-funded stuff, because isn't that what happened to what? Wait, what was that game again? Fuck, I can't remember. It was like Half-Life themed.
I'm not sure.
It
honestly.
It was something about Gordon Freeman or something like that, and it was like this guy trying to, he was getting all these getting YouTubers and other people to help program the game, but it's like they ripped assets straight out of like Half-Life 2 and stuff like that, and other Source games.
Yeah, that just gets at the legal part, and we're not talking about that here because that we don't know shit about it. Like,
I just remember that, and I'm like, wow, glad I didn't buy that game.
Yeah. Well, I feel like in the case of Kickstarters and all of that whole scene, there's a lot of good things that could come out of it. Undertale, Cuphead, that game sucks, but Cuphead, it was honestly a really good thing, and if you honestly got the collector's edition or seen videos of it, they actually care about that game. It's absolutely astonishing, like the art scheme, the music, everything else. It's just absolutely phenomenal. But you also have Kickstarters that are just unperforming at best, and it is just it's laughable.
Yeah, it's like a high school senior trying to work on a project or something, but it's not a high school senior. It's someone who actually wants to make a game and is promising stuff that they really can't deliver.
Exactly. And I feel like that's the main issue of the Kickstarters and game development. There was this one game where it was kickstarted, everything else, and then the money just kind of got just taken, and then there was nothing for like a good year and a half. And then they kind of basically just took the money and kind of disappeared. Like, that's why I'm kind of hesitant whenever it comes to Kickstarter games and everything, because I don't want to waste the money that I use on a daily basis for someone who's saying that they're developing a game and everything else with, donation goals, kind of, I don't want to say kind of like Patreon, but because I actually like Patreon, like the Kickstarter stuff, like they have goals like, 5, 20, 50, 100, etc. Like, why would someone throw money at I don't want to even say, like, in general, where they would throw money at, say, like, a Kickstarter that looks sketchy in the first place. Granted, you have to make means of how you do, which is completely fine. But in the case of that developer who kind of just took the money and kind of disappeared, whatever.
I think we're going to have to cut this pretty short because we're running up on an hour now.